Thank you, Amarachi. Please be seated. Before we go on, my name is Fikayo. I'll be your host for today, and I'm joined by Amarachi, who's my co-host.
Good morning, everyone.
It's great to see all of you here once again. The hashtag for the event is TNC2022. TNC2022. Remember it today, remember it tomorrow. Post, tweet, post on Facebook, post on Instagram. Please use the hashtag, post your pictures as well. Once again, please scan the QR codes that are behind you, conspicuously placed, for the program outline so you can follow it. Up next, we'll have David Afolayan. He's the CEO and Content Chief of Technext. A round of applause as David comes to give us the welcome address. Please.
Hands together for David Afolayan.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, I know you know answer. Lagos way. Good morning, everyone. Yes, I'm happy to see you. I hope you are happy to see me too. My name is David Afolayan. Don't mind the title. I'm Content Chief at Technext. I don't know what I meant. Are you happy to be here today? Are you happy to be here today? Cool. I almost said, are you entertained? But I remember this is not a gladiator's court. So, I'm sure you're happy to be here. Before I deliver my address, I've always said I'm going to take a picture of myself here on stage. But I also want us to just do a very brief exercise. I want us to take out our phones. I had Fikayo talk about the hashtag TNC2022. I don't just want us to hear it, so I want us to practicalize. Let's take out a minute to take out our phones. So I have mine with me. I'm going to take a selfie with you all. So take a selfie of yourself, maybe with someone beside you, whichever one. So let's go. I'm doing mine, so you do yours. All right. Cool. So now let's, I don't know which is your favorite platform, mine is Twitter. Let's go ahead and post the picture. Just do present sir if you are male, present man if you're female. Exactly. Are we together? Are we together? Okay, so let's go. I want to see it on Twitter. Present sir, hashtag TNC2022. I'm doing mine, so do yours. My handle is aphorism, so you can confirm. You can tag Technext and we are going to retweet. So present sir. Yes, so I'm almost through. I will assume you guys type faster than I do because I'm holding a microphone in my hand. Yes, yes, yes. Done. Okay, if you just did that exercise, let me see your right hand. This is my left. I'm holding mic with my right. If you did that exercise, let me see your right hand. Okay, quite a lot of people. Thank you. All right, so once again, thank you for being here. The big question I want us to ask ourselves today is why are we here? A lot of people are coming in Some of us are quite early. But the question is, why are we all here? And I will say, I'm going to give you answers for myself and possibly answers for you. We are here today to continue a tradition. This is Technext Conference 2. The maiden edition was held last year. That happened at Pistis Center. At a time when the world was just bouncing back from the COVID-19 pandemic. At a time when we just had an announcement from the Central Bank of Nigeria that crypto transactions are somewhat been proscribed. Yet, at that event, we had over 2,000 people attend physically and on a virtual platform. We had a total of about 3,600. That shows the interest of Nigerians in this exciting topic. And we had a lot of conversations and after conversations that we are holding on to, even as at today. Last year's keynote address was delivered by the Minister of State for Budget and Planning, Mr. Clem Agba, and I was quite surprised about his depth of the blockchain space. And that brought about a conversation where we were looking at the impact of governance, regulation, on innovation in the blockchain space. But this year's event is going to be bigger, it's going to be better, and it's going to be more robust. Last year we focused on crypto regulation and adoption, and this year we are going to be delving into other exciting topics. And as you can see on the screen, we're going to be looking at Web3, Defi, and NFTs as additions to crypto. We are here to learn. We are here to learn. I'm excited by the list of speakers that we have today because these are people that have experience in the space. These are people that have done something and they are here to share with us the things that they have learned and the process of doing. And I believe that you are going to learn from them. Today we expect no less than 2,500 innovators, enthusiasts, stars, and future stars in the org. So here is your opportunity to network. Here is your opportunity to learn. Here is your opportunity to position yourself for future prosperity. And I'm sure that at the end of this 5-hour event, you have all it takes to be able to strategically position yourself for future level. As Jackson Brown Jr. says, nothing is more expensive than a missed opportunity. So this is your opportunity. Make it count. I welcome you all to Technext Conference 2022. Make the time count. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, David. Please let's give him a round of applause again. So, it's time for our keynote presentation. We'll be doing the first keynote presentation, Blockchain for Africa, Decentralized Economies, Merged Future. Please let's pay attention to the speaker profile.
Fejiro Hanu Agboje is the founder and CEO of Patricia Technologies, a fintech solution provider company. His dream is to make Africa the most desirable place for innovative transactions, led him towards introducing unique positive markers that will drive user experience and excellence in service delivery to the next level in Africa and beyond. Armed with the trademark them, do the most, Hanu is determined to build a legacy by getting millennials off the streets, impacting lives with amazing products and services, and driving the vision for Patricia to make crypto easy. Come on, let's put our hands together for Fejiro Hanu Agboje. Thank you.
Please, we don't stop clapping till he gets here.
Keep clapping.
Thank you, please.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, before he starts, I just want to highlight, we all have our bands, right? Yeah, so you've been arranged according to color codes. So from left to right, we have white. If you have them, please just wave. Exactly. We have yellow. We have black. And we have red. Yeah, so that's for a reason. The breakout sessions will be arranged according to color codes. So white, yellow, black, and red. You're seated in that particular order for a reason, so let's just pay attention to that as the session goes on. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Technext 2.0 conference. Before I begin, I want to say a very big well done to the organizers. I was here last year when I spoke on the event, and this year is really looking bigger and better, so I say well done to the entire Technext team. Crypto blockchain is, in a nutshell, my life's work, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. So I'm very happy to speak about this interesting concept and most importantly, the impact it has for Africa and the impact on African businesses. On the 1st of October, I published a thought piece which I titled Blockchain Memo, the State of Blockchain in Africa. And it ties very well into my conversation today because crypto and blockchain is so unique in a way that it provides transparency and accountability unlike anything we've ever seen before. The blockchain can provide high levels of financial inclusion, accessibility that is not currently available in the continent today. And this right here is the intrinsic value of crypto and blockchain. What even makes it more special is that it combines the wealth preservation qualities of hard assets like gold, like land, with the portability of digital currencies. Take it up together, mash it into one, and we have cryptocurrency, we have NFTs, we have the blockchain. But before we delve into blockchain, I want to talk about Web3. I know a couple of us have heard Web3, but we may not really understand what Web3 is and what it represents. Similarly to the way every year the Apple brings out new phones, iPhone 12, 13, and now we have the 14. Web3 is the third version of the internet. Web 1 was when we could only read on the internet. So think of it like having a magazine where you can only read through the magazine, but you can't buy, you can't interact with it. Web 2 came along, and Web 2 means you can read and you can write, which means you can go on a website like Jumia and read the content, and you can also buy from Jumia. You can go on Facebook and you can create your content. And that's where we saw the rise of all the giants we have today, Google, Facebook. They all came from the Web 2 era. And now we introduce Web 3, and that's why we are here. Where you can read, you can write, and now you can own. The ownership rights is what makes Web 3 so unique, and what makes it what I call the fifth revolution. Because everything has changed except how we interact with money. And Africa stands to be the biggest gainer in Web3. Because for the first time ever, we can own assets. Assets in forms of NFTs, assets in form of cryptos and digital tokens that can be transferred from one person to another, and we don't have to worry about the intrinsic issues we have in Africa today. Issues like inflation, issues like political instability. You would all agree with me that the Naira is losing value every day. But with the Web3 and with blockchain, that can stop, and that will stop. Because there are only limited supplies of these tokens, and it is not privy to the government impact. And that's what I'm here to talk about today. The importance of Web3 in businesses. First point I would like to pass across is Web3 in cross-border remittances. So today, and I'll use Nigeria as a case study, right? We have a dollar drought where there is a scarcity of dollar, we have to hustle, we have to struggle, right? But you can see that crypto is already providing a solution for us in terms of cross-border remittances. At Patricia, we have a very important partner called Demos, and they are based in South Africa, but they have been collecting payments from Patricia powered by crypto since the beginning of this year. Before now, they had to go through the issues of sourcing dollar, going through the streets, and that was way, way stressful. But with crypto, in less than 5 minutes, you can have a transaction settled. Stable coins come in. Stable coins are Africa's favorite tokens because they hold value, they are not volatile, and they solve the issues that African businesses have around cross-border payments. Another concern is crypto payments, and I think that this would have the biggest value in the crypto community because once a company is able to accept crypto as a form of payment, it automatically opens up the world to you. Every single person with a crypto wallet is potentially your customer. So if you sold hair in Balogun, for example, and you are using traditional methods of collecting payments, whether card, whether bank transfer, you are confined to only your area, to only your region, only your country, based off regulatory hassles. But with cryptocurrency, once you're able to connect your business to the blockchain via crypto payments, the woman in Spain can purchase from you. The person in Uganda can purchase from you successfully. And we have never seen this level of impact until when the cryptocurrency came about. And this is another area where we are succeeding in Patricia, where we have built a product called Patricia Business that basically allows businesses from anywhere in the world collect crypto payments and get settled in their local currency, or even in crypto, whatever they choose. Another area, and this is still very much novel, is crypto for content creators and crypto for content creation. So today in Nigeria, influencing is a huge market. We have tons of influencers around the world. But Nigeria is doing the most around these areas, right? Now let's take a look at large institutions. Show of hands, who here knows about OpenSea? Perfect. And who here knows about Apple Store? Show of hands. Wonderful. So very interesting is this. The Apple Store will charge you 30% of whatever sale you make on their App Store. But when you come to OpenSea, OpenSea charges you 2.5% of all transactions on their platform. Now that's a huge difference. 30% versus 2.5%. And let's even take it a little bit further. Instagram, Facebook, they don't pay creators nothing, but creators jump on them every other day in the hopes that they will get money from brands like Patricia, brands like Hudax, brands like Bitmama to advertise on them. But this is where the value of crypto and Web3 comes to play again. Crypto gives a new way of wealth creation, especially to the young generation, like we've never seen before. You make an NFT, you go on OpenSea, and you can earn 97.5% of all your revenues. That to me is a game changer. Moving forward, we can talk about crypto in real estate, right? And this is a very, very novel concept still that I think is going to succeed in Nigeria. So think about it this way. You want to buy a house, and the house is 100 million, but you don't have 100 million, right? But you have 1 million. With crypto, we can begin to have conversation around fractionalized and tokenized ownership, where you don't have to buy the entire property, but you can buy a tokenized version, and you can buy a bit, 1%, 2% of it, and you can get all the royalties that is accumulated on that property. This basically gives the common man, the man on the streets, who doesn't have 100 million, or who doesn't have 10 million, but has 10,000 naira, and he can own a property in Banana Island. He can own a property in Eco Atlantic. These are the new ways of wealth creation like cryptocurrency brings us, the Web3 space brings us. And it even gets more interesting. And this next idea is something I'm personally involved in, and it's called Web3 in gaming. Web3 and crypto in gaming. The concept of play to earn, where you can literally play games online and you can earn money. Growing up, I'm pretty sure everybody played games. Till now, everybody plays games. I was talking to my older brother just yesterday, and we were going through the idea of play to earn. And he was so excited, and he said that any reason for him to not stop playing games, he would take it. We all played games, and we never earned anything from it. We played games for fun. But now, you can actually play games, and you can earn real money. And we have seen this concept already succeed in the Philippines. During the COVID-19 pandemic, every single person, or let's say 80% of the population, they stopped going to work and they were playing mobile games, and they were earning a living as high as $200 a day, $300 a day. Bear in mind, that's like 150,000 naira in Nigeria. Many people do not even earn that much in a month. So kids in school can start playing games online and earning a living. You're out of school, you're looking for work, you have self-employment where you can literally start playing games and earning money online. This concept is not in Nigeria. This concept has not even broken through in Africa. And whenever I think of ideas and I think of the space, I always like to think about what great idea is nobody currently building. And these are the ideas that we have not yet tapped into, that we have not yet built into something that can be very interesting. The space is still very young. Web3 is still very, very, very much in its infancy. And that is the reason why I particularly applaud the Technext group for bringing people together to talk about things like this, to have tinkering sessions, to have sessions of ideations where we can talk about the future of Africa. We can find ways to impact Africa. We can find ways to bring value to our continent, bring value to our people, and put Africa on the map. Personally, I believe that Africa has the most use case for crypto. I believe that Africa can become the headquarter for crypto in the world, and Nigeria will become the SI unit. That is my dream, that is my vision. And with these sorts of sessions, these sorts of ideations, and most importantly, execution on these thoughts, I believe that we are one step closer to doing the most and to making Africa the Africa of our dreams. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you. A round of applause once again for our speaker, Hanu Fejuro, ladies and gentlemen. Keep clapping. Please keep clapping. Thank you very much. We'll be moving into our breakout sessions shortly. But before we do that, just a couple of announcements. First of all, we have a Toyota Avalon with the plate number EPE 232GS. Toyota Avalon EPE 232GS. Please, you're blocking. If you could just kindly move your car. We have a second car, a Toyota Corolla TRE 969AA. I'll take that again, a Toyota Corolla TRE 969AA. If that's your car, please go outside. Your attention is needed now.
All right, so we had a good plan for everyone. So in case you want to get water, you want to get sweets, you want to get a snack, you can go to the right-hand side of the hall instead of having to go outside. All right, so if you need to get water or anything, you can go to the right-hand side of the hall. All right, so our breakout session will be starting in about 10 minutes, so you can just take out this time, get what you want to get, take pictures you want to take, reach out to someone, network for the next 10 minutes, and after that, you just come back to your seats and the breakout session begins. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Just to let everybody know where the sessions are seated again. We did the short exercise before we started, but I'll just go over it again. White, yellow, black, red. The white is DeFi and the future of finance in Africa. The yellow is all you need to know about Web3. The black is making money from NFTs. And then the next column is building a career in blockchain, and that's red. They all promise to be exciting sessions. I can't wait to join each of them, and I'm very sure that you can either. So I'll see you then. Thank you. Okay. So I'm here to read the profile of Shodiko Ayomide. Can I have the music lower, please? Thank you. Shodiko Ayomide is the global head of developer advocacy in Polygon Technology. He leads the global developer advocacy team at Polygon, building Ethereum compatible blockchain. He has about 10 years of experience in technology and a track record in web and mobile engineering, community management, and cross-team leadership on a global scale. He has given talks and workshops at developer conferences around various locations and at conferences like React Atlanta, Future Sync Conference, Vue.js Amsterdam, Vue.js Toronto, Happy Days Hong Kong, Front End Love Conference Amsterdam, for CISA and Google developer groups, amongst many others. He's also one of the organizers of the Developer Circles Lagos from Facebook, on Stack Africa, Open Source Community Africa, and various other communities empowering Africa around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a hand for Shodiko Ayomide as he comes up to tell us about Polygon.
Thank you. I'm not sure that sounded like me, but okay, exciting. So how's everything going? How's everything going? Fine, awesome. So I think while I was seated or I was standing on the back, somebody here said blockchain is hard. He says it's hard, but Nigeria is harder. I think I like that line. But I would not say specifically that blockchain is hard. I would not say it's hard. I wouldn't use the word hard. I will simply just say, like, this is technology. Things are innovative. It's not like it's one complex, like, for example, when some people will say, I'm a Web3 designer, it's not like there's a brand software that is for Web3. It's the same Adobe Figma, that's all. So, but I think, so my name is Ayo, I work with Polygon, DevRel team, and I think one thing that's pretty exciting is as this month is my first year at Polygon, so I'm pretty happy about that. So I think let's go to the next slide, please. Oh, thank you. So, the internet started from something we refer to as Web 1.0. So the idea for Web 1.0 was, let's have things on the internet and let people be able to access it across the world, right? Have a.com, abc.com, right? Just pure text, right? Just where people can read about something, blah, blah, blah. That was the initial idea of Web 1. Then a couple of people came together, they said, okay, we want to be able to do more with the internet. How can we do this, right? Then, okay, they said, okay, let's see if we can add a couple of designs, let's see if we can make it interactive. They thought about, okay, let's create other languages like JavaScript and like other stuff that we know, CSS, SCSS, blah, blah, blah. Then the internet became interactive and it was said that is Web 2.0. Then it went on and people said, okay, I think we want to get rid of something we refer to as centralized ownership, right? We don't want to give all power to one person. Then we said, let's make the internet decentralized. Then people came together, or rather, one person came and said, okay, let's do something we're going to call Ethereum, right? Then he called that Web 3.0. The idea is basically building a decentralized web where there is no centralized ownership of a particular product. Let me give, for instance, say, let's say one way, okay, I think, let's talk a little bit about DAOs. So let's say PayStack, for example, was a DAO. What does that look like, right? That looks like, instead of founder, co-founder, senior accounting executive, senior this, senior that, in a DAO you have something we refer to as core contributors. So no longer senior level high executives making decisions. There is nothing like, okay, I need to get approval from the CEO, from the co-founders to get something sorted, right? In this case, we get approval from the community. That's the idea. Then the voting goes out. For example, when Uniswap was, so when they wanted to come on board Polygon, so they sent out a voting platform. Should the next version go on Polygon, blah blah blah. Then people said, okay. So most people said, let them be on Polygon. Then they literally just transferred to Polygon. That was it. It was not like the co-founder, CEO said, we're moving to Polygon and everything moved to Polygon. That was not the idea. Let's move to the next slide, please. Next slide. Next slide. I've spoken about this already. So, has Web3 done anything for Africa? So, to be honest, right, towards going Q3 and Q4 of this year, I made a personal plan for myself, which was I was going to do as much as I can in Africa, specifically, not just Nigeria, not just Ghana, not just Kenya, not just South Africa, but various African countries, figuring out ways to empower as many Africans doing stuff as possible. We have tons of smart people in Africa, like Nigerians are one of the smartest people you can ever find anywhere. I've seen some Kenyans who are really smart. I've seen South Africans, people from Mali, people from like different African countries who are extremely smart. But the problem is that there is no empowerment. Right, there is no way these guys, some people, like, for example, imagine living in a place like, oh, this thing is recorded. But they do, Sha. Imagine living in a place like, let me give, like Congo, right? Or Mali, or like some regions that are extremely, like, they're covered with poverty, right? And there are some people there who are really smart, but they do not have the opportunity to learn. If they try learning, the circumstances surrounding their lives will not motivate them to keep learning and become better. So what do? We put together an engineering community, bring them together, and they're all learning together. From there, they get to get jobs, remote jobs, relocate abroad, and keep doing big things, right? Basically empowering Africans. Let's go to the next slide.
Come out.
So, blockchain has done a lot right now. So for job opportunities, easy money transfer. So, for example, think of a case scenario where we have, let's use this example. Let's say we have a VC fund. Right? And this fund specifically is meant to invest in blockchain companies. So let's say we have about 50 people or 75 in that blockchain fund. Everyone is trying to put together, let's say, about 5K checks, 10K checks, 20K checks, 30K checks, right, into one specific account. Now, let's say it goes into a Bank of America account. Trying to move that money from Bank of America to, let's say, a bank account in New Zealand is extremely hard because there's a bunch of, let's say it goes up to a total of, let's say, about $3 million. Trying to move that money from a Bank of America account, like, there's a bunch of layers of approval, and a lot of things can happen in between. But with the blockchain, with Web3, right, it's 100% different. You can easily move money from one place to another easily, completely easy. So let's move forward, please. So we basically so as of last year, we created something we refer to as Polygon guilds. These are specific closed communities where people come together and basically learn about the blockchain, learn about Solidity, and just learn about things that can make you a blockchain engineer. And if you don't get into NFTs, DeFis, or whichever Web3 space you want to get into, you can find a Polygon guild and basically join. Next slide, please. Next one. Next one. Okay, so I think this is some really exciting stats that I'm personally excited about. So in between October 2021 and today, around August 2022, we have close to more than 37,000 dApps currently building on Polygon. This is one stat I'm really excited about. I'm really excited about this. This is like 10 times growth in less than 1 year. 10 times in less than 1 year. And we're not just saying people trying to build a to-do list that they say the list is on the blockchain, not that kind of thing. Not like really usable applications, like usable dApps that are building on Polygon right now. That is 37,000 dApps right now, and that's exciting. I believe to me, this means a lot to me. That number means a lot to me right now. Let's go to the next slide. We have companies like DraftKings, Adidas, Defi's like Stripe, Aave, Robinhood, Uniswap, enterprise like Meta, eBay, Coinbase, Shopify, OpenSea, gaming like Decentraland, Horizon, and tons of other players trying to build on Polygon. This is basically just some of the biggest partners right now building on Polygon. This is exciting. So it's not just about, it's not like we gave Facebook money, say Facebook come and build on Polygon and we'll give you X and Y check. It was not about that. Polygon can support you when it comes to grants and investments. That's possible. But I'm seeing a point where it's not just about the money, it's about the support. The level of support that you are being provided by the chain you are building on. It's not just about them giving you grants and all of that. The level of support that people are giving you. You're trying to build an NFT. You're trying to basically deploy your DApp on Polygon, all of that. Is the chain you are using giving you support? That's the question. What kind of support? When it comes to auditing your contract, is there a way if you're on Binance or let me not mention any name, but are you getting support, right? Are you getting support? Every single people meeting on Polygon right now, at least many of them, let me not say every single one, many of them, we're providing that to them as much support as we can. Let's go to the next slide. So it's not specific that blockchain is hard. If you're thinking about Web2 stuff, we're thinking about APIs, we're thinking about authentication layers, we're thinking about database, client-side frameworks, file storage. That's like the regular Web2 stack that's like we all know. But it's not like Web3 is hard specifically. It's just that it's a much more technical field. Right, it's much
Nigeria, not just Ghana, not just Kenya, not just South Africa, but various African countries, figuring out ways to empower as many Africans doing stuff as possible. We have tons of smart people in Africa. Like Nigerians are one of the smartest people you can ever find anywhere. I've seen some Kenyans who are really smart. I've seen South Africans, people from Mali, people from like different African countries who are extremely smart. But the problem is that there is no empowerment, right? There is no way these guys, some people, like, for example, imagine living in a place like, oh, this thing is recorded. Okay. But they know, Sha. Imagine living in a place like, like Congo, right? Or Mali, or like some regions that are extremely, like, they're covered with poverty, right? And there are some people there who are really smart, but they do not have the opportunity to learn. If they try learning, the circumstances surrounding their lives would not motivate them to keep learning and become better. So what do? We put together an engineering community, bring them together, and they're all learning together. From there, they get to get jobs, remote jobs, relocate abroad, and keep doing big things, right? Basically empowering Africans. Let's go to the next slide. So, blockchain has done a lot right now for job opportunities, easy money transfer. So, for example, think of a case scenario where we have, let's use this example. Let's say we have a VC fund. Right? And this fund specifically is meant to invest in blockchain companies. So, let's say we have about 50 people or 75 in that blockchain fund. Everyone is trying to put together, let's say, about 5K checks, 10K checks, 20K checks, 30K checks, right, into one specific account. Now, let's say it goes into a Bank of America account. Trying to move that money from Bank of America to, let's say, a bank account in New Zealand is extremely hard. Because there's a bunch of, let's say it goes out to a total of, let's say, about $3 million. Trying to move that money from a Bank of America account to another, there's a bunch of layer of approval, and a lot of things can happen in between. But with the blockchain, with Web3, right, it's 100% different. You can easily move money from one place to another easily, completely easy. So next, move forward, please. So we basically, so as of last year, we created something we refer to as Polygon Guilds. These are specific closed communities where people come together and basically learn about the blockchain, learn about Solidity, just learn about things that can make you a blockchain engineer. And if you want to get into NFTs, DeFis, or whichever Web3 space you want to get into, you can find a Polygon Guild and basically join. Next slide, please. Next one. Next one. Okay, so I think this is some really exciting stats that I'm personally excited about. So in between October 2021 and today, rather, and August 2022, we have close to more than 37,000 dApps currently building on Polygon. This is one stat I'm really, really excited about. I'm really excited about this. This is like 10 times growth in less than 1 year. 10 times in less than 1 year. And we're not just saying people trying to build a to-do list that they say the list is on the blockchain, not that kind of thing. Not like really usable applications, like usable dApps that are building on Polygon right now. That is 37,000 dApps right now. And that's exciting. I believe to me, this means a lot to me. That number means a lot to me right now. Let's go to the next slide. We have companies like DraftKings, Adidas, DeFi's like Stripe, Aave, Robinhood, Uniswap, enterprise like Meta, eBay, Coinbase, Shopify, OpenSea, gaming like Decentraland, Horizon, and tons of other players trying to build on Polygon. These are basically just some of the biggest partners right now building on Polygon. This is exciting. So it's not like we gave Facebook money, say, Facebook, come and build on Polygon, and we'll give you X and Y check. It was not about that. Polygon can support you when it comes to grants and investments. That's possible. But I'm seeing a point where it's not just about the money, it's about the support. The level of support that you are being provided by the chain you are building on. It's not just about them giving you grants and all of that. The level of support that people are giving you. You're trying to build an NFT. You're trying to basically deploy your dApp on Polygon. All of that. Is the chain you are using giving you support? That's the question. What kind of support? When it comes to auditing your contract, is there a way if you're doing on Binance, or let me not mention any name, but are you getting support, right? Are you getting support? Every single people beating on Polygon right now, at least many of them, let me not say every single one, many of them, we're providing that to them as much support as we can. Let's go to the next slide. So it's not specific that blockchain is hard. If you're thinking about Web 2 stack, we're thinking about APIs, we're thinking about authentication layers, we're thinking about database, client-side frameworks, file storage. That's like the regular Web 2 stack that's like we all know. But it's not like Web 3 is hard, specifically. It's just that it's a much more technical field, right? So even as a designer, right, you have to understand how the blockchain works before you can even think of building anything. Like even as, for example, right, some fields like even in the Web 2 space, you can watch a YouTube video and feel like you're on top of the world. Yes, it can happen in the Web 2 space. You can watch a video about something and feel like, yeah, I know everything. But in the blockchain space, it's not like it's hard. It's just that there's a bunch of technicalities to it. There are a bunch of things you need to understand. There's a bunch of abbreviations. I'll give an example. I was at a conference I was at a conference in the country yesterday, and someone was trying to do a pitch, and he was just using a bunch of investors were seated, and this guy was just pitching, and it was just using in Web3 there's a bunch of abbreviations. The guy was just abbreviating everything. Sponsors were like, investors were like, which one is this one? Because the technique, it's abbreviated, but it can be explained in a way that, okay, let me give an example. If you ask me, what does Polygon do? I would say this to someone who doesn't know about Web3. What does Polygon do, right? We have Ethereum, but you must at least know what Ethereum is. So you know what Ethereum, what does Polygon do? Polygon basically helps Ethereum with their problems, full stop. Be able to communicate what Web3 is in layman's terms is possible. So if we're talking about the block, so this is basically the stack. You're talking about blockchain, you're talking about file storage, we're talking about oracles, we're thinking about what does understanding basically how the EVM works, talking about APIs, off-chain data protocols like Chainlink and the rest. There's a bunch of things that you have to learn, even as a designer in the Web3 space. As an NFT artist, you have to understand how the blockchain works. You can't say, hey, I'm the designer, I know how to draw, I don't need to learn about this one. No, it wouldn't work. You have to understand the basics of blockchain. Understand what ledgers are. You can call ledger a big database for people who don't want to understand this complexity. We have something called a blockchain ledger. They might be like, I don't understand that. Okay, it's a big database. You understand that one? Yes. Be able to simplify complex words in Web3 in a way that layman can understand. Let's move to the next slide. So basically, becoming a Web3, basically, I think I've spoken about this. Blockchain fundamentals, decentralized application, understand. Basically, you must know how to build a regular front-end application on back-end, HTML, but you know all this stuff already. So let's move to the next slide. So use case. I've spoken about this, but I'll buttress this a little bit. One key thing I'm really excited about on the blockchain, right, is ease of getting things from one place to another place, and you don't need layers of approval anymore. If, for example, in some bank accounts right now, I would not mention the bank. If you're in the DOM account, if you receive something as $1,500 in your DOM account, you get a call from your bank. Hello, you just received $1,500. Who is the money from? How did you get the money? Are you sure you did not steal it? I'm like, I don't understand. Why are you calling me? Like, I don't understand. Right? Removing that layers of bunch of calls, bunch of people, like blockchain removes all of that. You are your own manager. You manage your money yourself. Let's move to the next slide. So, a Polygon, again, these two things is specific what I'm particular about. Number one, emotional connection. Number two, developer success. We've been able to assemble teams at Polygon as the developer integrations team and the developer success team specifically to basically help companies trying to build on Polygon scale. That's the plan. You're building on Polygon. We'll just whatever level of support you need, we try to provide everything you need. Anything you need. You need to get access to Morales. We can get that done for you. We have I don't know what other English language to say, but we're trying to provide as much support as we can for projects building on Polygon, and that's why we're the number one platform of choice. Next slide. So let's connect. You can connect with, so if you have any questions, you can basically send me an email at ayomide@polygon.technology. Next slide. So this is just the beginning. We're just getting started. I'm just a year at Polygon. I don't plan to leave anytime soon. This is just groundwork. Like, we're just getting started. There's still so much more we have planned. There's so much more I personally plan to do next year. I know how many artists in Nigeria we have helped deploy their NFTs on the blockchain. We have done that. We provided support. We provided a level of financing. We've done that. And we're still doing that, and more are launching soon, but I cannot mention the names. But this is still just the beginning, and I'm looking forward to meeting some of you. The Polygon booth's at the back, so my name is Ayo. So if anything, you can send me a text on Twitter at developerayo, and yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Please, let's clap once again. Okay, so our next session is Celebrity Spotlight. I'll read the speaker profile. Aka Nani is a Nigerian-born actor, YouTuber, content creator, producer, and TV show host who started his career in entertainment in 2014 and has since been cast in several TV films, web series, theater productions, and feature films. Aka has been nominated for the Future Awards Africa Award in the acting category, and also the Best Supporting Actor in a Movie by the critically acclaimed African Movie Academy Awards for his role in Nollywood movies. He just recently headlined a Netflix original film titled The Man of God, where his performance as the lead gained critical acclaim and a lot of press. Let's put our hands together for Aka as he comes to the stage. Please, we don't stop clapping till he comes. Thank you. Please be seated. Yes. He'll be joined later on by Ikechukwu Cross Okonkwo, a Nigerian reality television star, actor, and entrepreneur. He was the third runner-up on season 6 of Big Brother Naija, one of the biggest reality TV shows on the continent. He's also a crypto investor and enthusiast, heading into crypto trading in 2015 and then into NFTs and the Metaverse in 2021. Let's clap for Cross as well. He'll be joining shortly. The session will be moderated by Anderson Ozakbo, the business chief of Technext. Let's clap as we have Anderson.
Good afternoon, everybody. Are we happy to be here? You don't look excited. Are you happy to be here? If you are happy to be here, say TNC 2.0. Yeah, thank you very much. Quite a lot of people here, and it's a great privilege to sit with you. But before I start, I was supposed to be talking to yourself and Cross, but Cross, I think he's still on his way. I hope he makes it. But before I start asking you a couple of questions, let me start with the audience. All right. Let's say you have $1 million right now. Would you rather buy? Would you rather invest in real estate, or you will invest in crypto? Calm down, calm down. If you will invest in crypto, please raise your hand. If you invest in real estate, oh, okay, calm down, calm down. I believe you can see why we want to have this conversation. So, there's a lot of interest and demand for fintechs to begin to implement blockchain offerings and services to their day-to-day service, right? There has been that increase in demand. I remember one time I was in a Taxify. Before I got to my destination, I could convert my crypto to Naira to pay the Taxify driver. That is how crypto has been made easy so far. But there's still a vast majority that don't trust the activities of the blockchain. So we want to hear from somebody like you, who is both popular, who is an influencer, to share with us your journey. Because I've seen that in this crypto space, you are either a believer or a non-believer, right? And I want to believe a lot of people here want to be converted by your testimonies. So would you please tell us, how has been the journey so far with you? Like, how did it start? Just tell us about it.
Thank you very much for the question and the opportunity to speak here. First of all, I'd like to say that I'm just as regular as every other person sitting here. I wasn't brought here by any brand or by any, DeFi platform. And my journey started the exact same way, I believe a lot of them have started their journeys. The first time I heard about crypto was 2015.
Wow.
And when I heard Bitcoin, the exact meaning that it gave me was MMM. So I just saw Bitcoin equals MMM. It is all a scam because I didn't understand it. And one of my biggest regrets today is that I didn't invest in crypto at the time early enough, or I didn't understand it. And I think that was something that we lacked, which was education in the crypto space. But I'm happy about what is happening today with the internet, and with, of course, more players coming into the space from Africa. We can see people get into it and see them have success, so we can have access to information, asking questions and speaking with people. The first question you asked to the audience was basically if they would invest in
something you can see.
In something you can see, rather than
as opposed to
crypto.
investing in crypto, yeah.
And if you asked me this question maybe 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I would say land, property, but also because I understand, and the truth is that the real currency of every business is actually trust. And people trust what is tangible, what they can see. And that is what I believe that centralized platforms, centralized finance have been able to cash in on, which is trust. Yeah. You trust the banker, you trust the man in a suit, you trust the building of the bank, with the glass walls. You trust that they wouldn't run away with your money because you see them, and you trust the teller and the processes. But with the way the world has moved, economies are moving, centralized government and centralized finance have begun to let people down, and so people need alternatives. And I also feel and believe that Africans and Africa needs a chance at creating wealth in their own or on their own terms, which is where I was, And so I began to look for answers to my questions. How do I create wealth? Something that I learned a long time ago was, don't buy a car with the money you earn, and don't buy a house with the money you earn. Buy a car with the money that your money creates for you. Buy a car with the money that your business is able to make for you. And so I began to understand later on, when I began to find answers, that crypto is a way of creating money and creating wealth on my own terms. Okay. And so I think that the answer to that question basically for me would be that I would invest in crypto, because with crypto I can multiply money. I wouldn't just have $1 million or $1 million. I will multiply it, or have a chance at multiplying a portion of it to become even bigger than the capital, and then use that to buy land or buy a house or buy a car. So I think that, my journey started from, seeing other people have success in or with crypto, and then I began to ask questions and find those answers for myself a couple of years back. And I just wanted to see, what is crypto and how do I understand it first?
Yeah.
So thankfully, friends put me through, and that's how it started.
That's fantastic. You've shared quite a lot with us. And one of the things that stood out for me was you took out time to do your own what? Research. If there is a phrase that is popular amongst the crypto space, is that word, do your own what? And they will tell you this is not a financial advice. You have to do your own research. But can you share with us like a blueprint? When you say do your own research, what are the 1, 2, 3 things you look out for before you invest in a crypto asset?
So first of all, I started with trying to understand what crypto was, and then how do I get crypto? And then when I understood how to get crypto, I realized that there were several exchanges and platforms that I could get crypto from. So I then went into studying how I could trust those platforms. So there are several platforms, and then you have to engage with a platform that you can trust. And then from there, I then, tested with a little money. How do I then interact with these platforms? How do I then exchange fiat, the money that I have, my naira? How do I exchange it for crypto?
So you didn't put all your money at
I did,
first.
of course. Now, how will I put all my money? So basically, that's what it was. That was what the journey looked like. And then I think that I then began to later find ways of removing more processes, making it swifter and faster. So you understand that, I'm sure you do, decentralized finance is also to help remove most of the systems and processes that, exclude people from financial inclusion. So I began to look for platforms that gave me easier, quicker ways of putting in money and getting money back out, But the truth is, as decentralized, finance and exchanges try to move forward, the truth is that we belong to countries and governments that make policies that also restrict some of these things. Yeah. So it's always, I'm always in a place where I also have to get into the jungle of finding the quickest and best ways for me. That's basically what it has been like.
Thank you very much. So if there's one thing I took out from your answer is, after doing all the research that you could lay hands on, you tested, like you dipped one of your legs in the waters first before going all in. So I'm going to ask the next question. If I have access to hack your crypto wallet and I wipe everything, would you consider yourself broke, or crypto investment is just an option out of many options for you?
God. So, the truth is, when I saw the success that crypto gave me, I went in, like I just went wild. I invested little and then got a lot back, and then invested little, and I got in right at the tip of the boom. So, like, I got an 18x. I think I went wild with that. Till date, with everything that I've invested and all the money that I've put into crypto, I have never taken anything back yet. Because for me, I'm more about
the future.
creating wealth, but also I've been able to also show young boys and empower people and show them the way, because I would talk to a couple of my colleagues and a couple of friends and they would just be like, oh mom, I don't understand this thing, I don't fit get am, like. And so most of the time, and I'm grateful for a friend who sat down with me and put me through because the truth is, sometimes you just see guys and you see people like, now crypto, but then nobody gives you the tools to understand it and teaches you the way to actually get into this thing. But then, of course, with just a couple of hours with my friend, I dived into YouTube. Now, with the success of that, with the money that is stored in my crypto wallet, so if it is hacked and someone takes it takes all the money, I wouldn't say I'm done. Because like I said, I started with a bit and they began to put in more. But again, the major should I say instruction and guiding principle that I've been able to keep at the back of my mind and also practice is that I have never gone into it with what I cannot lose. Now that you know that there's a crash. And so imagine somebody having like hundreds of thousands of, worth of crypto, hundreds of thousands of dollars, coming down to hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
With that, all I know is that with what I've learned, you only lose when you sell in the deep. So it's just basically a waiting game and timing. So wouldn't say that I've lost everything, but it would just be painful, man. It would just it go enter my blood.
Okay. So someone told me the problem with investing in crypto itself is investing short-term, thinking you will just put some money and cash out. And the person asked me, would you buy a land today and every day you go to that land and be checking the land if the price of the land has gone up or it has come down? Is that what you do? If you want to invest, you buy real estate, you wait, right, for that real estate to have some sort of value before you do what? And nobody uses school fees to buy real estate. Your children's school fees, you don't do that. And that is one of the things you also said that stood out, that you were able to invest something you can lose. So now that you also mentioned about this whole period, those who play in that space will tell you there is currently winter in the space, right? With all that is happening, with all the plunge and
there's
all of
blood
that.
everywhere.
Exactly, there is blood everywhere. With all of this, would you consider yourself a profitable investor so far?
I think that with everything said, I would still consider myself a profitable investor. Because with economies around the world, there is always the peak season and the low peak season. And I think that right now is still an amazing time and an amazing opportunity. People have an amazing opportunity to still get into the space. When there is blood, where everywhere is red, it is the best time to actually invest. And so right now I will still consider it, fate and life giving us all another chance at taking what we can to, have a wealth transfer. But I also want to say something about to some of the people sitting here. You were talking about giving or investing with what you can lose.
Yeah.
The truth is that the reality of a lot of people, they don't have that option of investing what they can lose, because what they have is their all. But the truth is that there is also no other way of cashing in, or should I say, changing your trajectory financially without taking risks. So, if you ask me, because right now, there is no other way. I don't think that there is any clearer way and quicker way of, and legal way of making money. I would say, because the truth is that your all was never enough anyway. So for me, people who are able to make it in the crypto space are people who have apple beams, spine. People who are able to say, man, we die on the line. And people who are able to also wait. So I would say for now, especially for the beginning period, take a little bit of your all, learn with how to transact, but then also don't be shy or shy away from giving it or putting in everything.
Yeah, thank you very much. A friend of mine would always say, victory is for the brave, right? Yeah, you have to take a lot of risk. And a warrior is coward at first until he wins. Because if he fails, people will say, you didn't think before you went into the battle. People will only praise you when you've won, right? So it's a very clear understanding. And then I've heard some people also say, until one Bitcoin falls back to $1, they've not made loss yet in the crypto space. So the question is, what are you going to tell your children if you don't leverage on this situation 5 years from now, 10 years from now? When your children are going to see other people who are leveraging on the blockchain and see how far they've gone, they are going to ask you, how far now? Where are your mates? Because to be honest, some of our parents were there when Apple was selling stocks, right? Were selling shares, but they refused to buy. And the next best time to leverage on the future is now, whether you like it or not. The question is, will you be able to take the risk? So, what are some of the most exciting moments you've had so far? You talked about a time you made about 18x of your investment. So, is that the best time you've ever had? Or you have other exciting moments to share?
That was actually the most exciting moment because I had recently just begun to understand the space, understand crypto, and then that happened. And so I was able to take, capital and then diversify into other coins. My first buy was actually Ethereum and Litecoin. And then, I just pulled out all my Litecoin immediately and put more into, Ethereum. And then, pulled out again and then began to diversify. Of course, like I said, I educated myself a lot. I watched a lot of, YouTube videos. I read a lot of, journals, asked a lot of questions. And so that really helped me to understand. And then shortly after, a couple of months later, I then began to hear NFTs, and I was just like, which one? Kilele, which one is NFT again? Can they allow somebody to just understand and settle in one first before another one comes? But then I went into that, learning and understanding that, and I think that just began to open the horizon for me.
Can you put a round of applause for Aka Nani? Thank you very much. I know I've been asking a lot of questions. Do you have questions? Does the audience have questions they want to ask? Please, somebody should help with the microphones. So I'm going to take, how many questions do we have? Okay, so I'm seeing only 3 hands up. I'm going to take just 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. The very first hand over there.
Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for a wonderful revelation because I started as someone that was a newbie too in this space. So as a trader or as an investor, how did you learn to like, whenever market pull downs, how did you learn? Did you add to positions or did you take out? Like how did you manage your investing as a whole?
Can you please help me tell it
Okay,
again?
so what he's asking is, how do you know when to remove from the market or
Timing,
put back
timing the
into
market.
Yeah,
Omo.
that's your question, right?
Okay.
Is there a blueprint?
There is no blueprint. Let me tell you something. You cannot time the market. The best advice I would give is before you make an investment, just have a goal of how much you want to get back. When you get to that amount, pull out.
I think that's the general rule of trading.
Yeah,
like-
which is a general rule of trade because you cannot time. Nobody timed the beer when it came. There was still hype about the bull run when this last dip came in, and of course, some of us still got trapped in it with some investments. But some of us had also taken some form or some parts or portions of our profit. Again, with crypto, you never lose. So it's just about waiting and timing. However, I would say don't ever aim to time the market. You can't. You're not in the big leagues or the big dogs where they know who is going to or when somebody is going to just pull out some money that will make something crash, or nobody knows when Elon Musk is going to tweet to make something move. So the best thing is make an investment. When you get to the amount you know you are okay with, pull out. It doesn't matter if somebody else makes 10 times more than that. It's fine. You understand? So don't be greedy. And it's the same rule of law with even, the only reason why 419ers are able to catch anybody is because of greed. The only reason why people also, fail in business is greed. So don't take greed into the crypto market. Know what you want, get into it and get it and invest again. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I think we've done justice to your question, right? Thank you. The next person, I saw another hand. Yes.
Good afternoon. I was now able to ask this question during my breakout session.
We can barely hear you. If you can take off your mask.
Okay, so I was not able to ask this question during my breakout session, but even if you can't answer, maybe anybody else can help answer it. So one of the things we know blockchain about is being decentralized. And we were told that by just the creation of a wallet, you have the services of the entire blockchain system. So now my question is, if we were able to sign up using wallets, I believe that there's a database or something like that where all these are stored. And there are people who...
Sorry, please. I'm finding it very hard to hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me clearly now?
Yeah, it's better.
All right. So I said I was not able to ask this question during my breakout session, but if you cannot answer, maybe any other person can help answer.
Okay, so is this question for this session or for your breakout session?
It's for anybody to answer me, honestly.
Okay, let's stick with questions regarding this session. Don't worry, people will come to attend to the questions you were unable to ask at the breakout session. Is that fine?
All right,
Thank
no problem.
you very much. I really appreciate it. The next question, please.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Arinze, and I'm currently building a startup in the educational space. You shared your experience and how it was difficult understanding the space, how it works, and all. And something that is certain in this internet age is that there is an overabundance of content. Information is overabundant. What's scarce now is attention. So what insights can you share about what you felt someone could have better worked on to have helped you achieve the height you have now, or even better in the shortest time possible? What do you think someone you wish you'd had? What structure of education do you wish you could have had? I would just like like you to share insights on that. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that question. I think at the time, 3 years ago, there wasn't an oversaturation or an abundance of information in the space yet. I think that there were, people who were playing in the field personally, but not on an organizational level, especially with media and the attention to it. And we're thankful for organizations like Technext conference and journals that's a tech cabal that do their best in putting out information about crypto and basically information about the space. And I think that the successes of a lot of platforms, and with Africa becoming the quote unquote the hub, next Silicon Valley, or rather the Silicon Valley of West Africa, has also helped more people pay more attention to what is happening in the space. And I always say that the most important thing when it comes to helping people understand is basically making people have conversations. When people ask questions, that is the beginning of enlightenment. And I think that success stories make people ask more questions. When people see that somebody else did it, it's more relatable to them. And so I think that right now, you guys have a privilege, or the privilege of learning more quicker than we did way back, or than I did. So I think that right now we're still on track, but I think that we need to pay more attention right now to not just getting into the crypto space and earning on a personal level. I think that with the technological revolution, Africa has an opportunity to be a big player in the world on a global scale, where we have ownership of technological advancement. And so I want us to begin to share, sell, buy NFTs on our own African platforms. I want us to begin to get into conversations of the metaverse. And I think that, with DeFi platforms, there's a huge opportunity for people who have been unbankable to get into the space and begin to, transact with, their funds. People who couldn't get bank accounts in the villages, people who couldn't get loans or have access to loans in, remote towns, should be able to now have those opportunities at their fingertips. Because, so right now, I think that ownership and platforms should begin to think of how they can make and simplify processes and make it accessible to the fingertips of people. So I think we're on track when it comes to personalized information, but I think that on a larger scale, we have to get into those deeper conversations and practices that will help us own, spaces here.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And then a lot of the platforms we use today, a lot of these crypto fintech companies, by just signing up or by virtue of following them across social media handles, you see they share a lot of knowledge, right? For the ones I use, I know I get a lot of newsletters. There's usually the learn part. There is hardly any player in that space that does not have a section for learning. And a lot more of them are investing in videos. So I think the first step would be choose who you want. Choose the platform you want to stick with and begin to leverage on the knowledge share that they give, right? And then there are courses on NFTs, on Udemy, on edX, on Coursera. There are courses on NFTs, on blockchain, on crypto. So you can never have like an information overload, because there are still a lot of people who don't even know yet. So where is the overload coming from? I don't know if that has rightly dealt. Thank you very much, and thanks for that question. The last question, please make it brief so that we can wrap up this session.
Okay, Thank you very much. My name is Alamin. I want to know what are the requirements for the time commitments if I want to go into crypto trading. So he compared it to real estate and the fact that we don't keep checking on the land every single day. But I feel that's the point we're doing crypto instead of real estate, that we're expecting something better, perhaps faster. So what are the time commitments that you give and some other commitments that it takes for you to monitor your trade and get your returns?
Okay, thank you for your question. I'm not a crypto trader. I'm a crypto investor. And I'm also just getting into the opportunities that it affords me. Now, there are people who are crypto traders, and I've seen the way they live their lives. I cannot, because me, I don't have that kind of heart. First of all, I like to sleep, you know. And then I'm also busy. I actually have a job, like I'm working. So I do not, and I'm not really the kind of person that's always checking my phone 24/7. So I just knew that wasn't my life. Crypto trading and checking, I buy in now. I'm checking every 2 minutes to see when it buy. No, so I just said, I'm going to take a portion of this and then put in. And after a while, it's going to grow. And then when it grows, I pull out and then buy again something else that will grow and come back when that first coin has a dip. And it takes basically between, let's say, a couple of months. Sometimes it could take a year. It could take weeks. But it's just basically keeping abreast of information. So, but it's different from having to check every minute and making sure. I don't think that I have enough information for crypto trading. Thank you.
Yeah, you have to consider your heart as well, right? I think this is almost like the end of this session. We want to thank you for your patience. Thank you for all the questions. And thank
I have
you
a question.
very much.
A question,
thank you
please.
very much for...
Hello?
Oh, sorry. We only gave room for... Okay. Should we allow him ask his question? All right.
Thank you very much. First of all, I want to congratulate Technext for this conference.
Technext.
Technext 2.0. My question goes thus. You mentioned in your comment that if you want to invest, you have to make some research. So if new token comes out, what are those things that you research in? What do you actually check? And how do you advise others on exactly what to check before you invest in any cryptocurrency? And I want you to appreciate why I'm asking this question. My name is Jagede Paul. We came up with a project that I would say is the best in the world in cryptocurrency space. It's the best in the world in the sense that you cannot lose your money. We are a mining company because we know that Africa is awash with resources of gold. In Nigeria alone, the gold that is there is in trillions of dollars and yet to be tapped. The highest company mining gold in Nigeria, they are from Canada. So also in Ghana, where we are. We thought it that Bitcoin just came down from up down there. How do we come with a project that you can never lose your money when you invest it? Then we came up with JP Go Coin. JP Go Coin from our Ghana company. And said, people, this is JP Go Coin. Whatever you invest, you can never lose it. You can only gain more because it has hybrid features. Hybrid features of gold growing. Your gold value is growing and your cryptocurrency can fluctuate anyhow. But whatever you invest, you can never lose it.
All right.
But to our amazement, you people just take it as normal cryptocurrency and they were losing their investment.
Off
so
your
I was
mic,
wondering,
off your mic.
what else
Can
do
we
you
get to the question?
That's what I'm asking. That what else can one look for? Can he guide the people to say, this is exactly what you look for before you invest, and this is how you watch your investment?
All right. Thank you very much. He just gave a pitch. That is interesting. So the question you've asked is what to look out for when you find a new token, like your token, right? Please.
Thank you for your 3-minute speech. Your question too. To just simplify, the answer to your question. What I look for before I make an investment into, a project or a token is basically I research on the use cases of that project. Who are the people behind it? What have they done before? Like I said, the currency for every business is trust. So if I can put a track record on who they are, what they've done before, why they're in the space, what this, project is going to do, what are the use cases, how effective is it going to be, is it going to actually be, advantageous to the blockchain, to the people, to the users, then I can begin to think of getting into the projects. I'm also very, very skeptical about the kind of influencers that some of these projects use. I also check their following. So if they have a good following, if they have an organic following, then that makes me also, more open to it. And of course, the integrity of the influencers or the people they use who speak for them, the spokespeople, the spokespersons, then that gives me a little bit of confidence. Then when it comes to investing into a new token, very few people have the opportunity to get into stages of IDOs. So most people don't get that opportunity. But if I have the opportunity to do that, or you have the opportunity to do that, you can never really lose. Like we say, invest money that you're okay to lose. But when you can get into a project at a very early stage, you don't have to put in.
But it's different from having to check every minute and making sure that I don't think that I have enough information for crypto trading. Thank you.
Yeah, you have to consider your heart as well. I think this is almost like the end of this session. We want to thank you for your patience. Thank you for all the questions. And thank you very much. Thank you very much for...
Hello?
Oh, sorry. We only gave room for... Okay, should we allow him to ask this question? All right.
Thank you very much. First of all, to congratulate Technext for this conference.
Technext
2.0. My question goes thus. You mentioned in your comment that if you want to invest, you have to make some research. So if new token comes out, what are those things that you have to be researching? What do you actually check? And how do you advise others on exactly what to check before you invest in any cryptocurrency? And I want you to appreciate that I'm asking this question. My name is Jagede Paul. We came up with a project that I would say is the best in the world in cryptocurrency space. It's the best in the world in the sense that you cannot lose your money. We are a mining company because we know that Africa is awash with resources of gold. In Nigeria alone, the gold that is there is in trillions of dollars and yet to be tapped. The highest company mining gold in Nigeria, they are from Canada. So also in Ghana, where we are, we thought it Bitcoin just came down from up down there. How do we come into a project that you can never lose your money when you invest it? Then we came up with JP Go Coin. JP Go Coin from our Ghana company. And said, people, this is JP Go Coin. Whatever you invest, you can never lose it. You can only gain more because it has hybrid features. Hybrid features of growth. Your code value is growing, and your cryptocurrency can fluctuate anyhow, but whatever you invest, you can never lose it.
All right.
But our men, you people just take it as normal cryptocurrency and they were losing their investment. So I was wondering, what else can we
Get to the question.
That's what I'm asking you. That what else can one look for? Can you guide the people to say, this is exactly what you look for before you invest, and this is how you watch your investment?
All right. Thank you very much. He just gave a pitch. That's interesting. So the question you've asked is what to look out for when you find a new token, like your token, right? Thank you for your 3-minute speech. Your question too. To just simplify, the answer to your question. What I look for before I make an investment into, project or token is basically I research on the use cases of that project. Who are the people behind it? What have they done before? Like I said, the currency for every business is trust. So if I can put a track record on who they are, what they've done before, why they're in the space, what this project is going to do, what are the use cases, how effective is it going to be, is it going to actually be, advantageous to the blockchain, to the people, to the users, then I can begin to think of getting into the project. I'm also very, very skeptical about the kind of influencers that some of these projects use. I also check their following. So if they have a good following, if they have an organic following, then that makes me also, more open to it. And of course, the integrity of the influencers, of the people they use, who speak for them, the spokespeople, the spokespersons, then that gives me a little bit of confidence. Then, when it comes to investing into a new token, very few people have the opportunity to get into stages of IDOs. So most people don't get that opportunity. But if I have the opportunity to do that, or you have the opportunity to do that, you can never really lose. Like we say, invest money that you're okay to lose. But when you can get into a project at a very early stage, you don't have to put in as much. You can put in very little because it will always, if it's going to be a great project, it would 1,000x regardless. So I think that some people say whether it's bad or good, I'll put in money, I can't lose it because it's an ideal. But I think that, those are the peculiarities of that situation. But just basically research is basically the answer. And even with that, there's no guarantee. So put at the back of your mind that if it goes, it goes. At the end of the day, crypto has a myriad of opportunities, and don't put all your eggs in one basket. Thank you. All right, thank you very much. I think there's something called white papers, right? That people also, but I don't know if there are fake white papers now. That's another angle to look at. Any final words, or you said everything you've got to say? Any last word? Make it brief, so that they will catch the summary of everything you said so far. I think final word. We Nigerians, and we need to look at opportunities that give us an ownership platform. Invest in companies, invest in projects that are African, that are from African platforms, and that have a global use case. We should come up from the mentality of just surviving, but we should begin to look as a people. We should begin to look at ourselves as a people who have the opportunity to thrive in this space, and that is the opportunity that this gives us, So I would just say, don't be afraid, go in, learn as much as you can, and give it what you have. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Aka Nani. Thank you for your immense contribution, and thank you for your time. Have a great day. Thank you for having fun. Please just put your hands together. We're down to our last two sessions. The next one up is DeFi in Africa, possibilities beyond the hype. And the speaker is Emmanuel Babalola. He's the director for Africa at Binance and the interim CEO of Bondo, the Africa-focused social payments app for cash and crypto, driving crypto adoption on the continent. Previously, he was the business development manager at Binance in Nigeria, leading the Africa chapter of the world's largest crypto exchange and blockchain infrastructure provider, and the VP of Sales and Marketing at Church Plus, the biggest church management solution in Nigeria. Babalola is also a self-taught software developer and has created multiple apps and products. Babalola holds a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science from the University of Uyo in Nigeria and is currently studying for an MSc in Digital Currency and Blockchain Technology from the University of Nicosia in Cyprus. Ladies and gentlemen, Emmanuel Babalola. Thank you. I encourage all speakers to please pay attention to the monitor at the bottom left for time. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I was thinking my voice would not be, normal, but this is not my real voice. Please just bear with me. So I'm just going to do a quick presentation, just to prepare the way for the next panel, where my guys will be speaking about very crucial points that would really be beneficial to everyone here. But before I start, I just want to get a sense, as I like to do, of the kind of audience we have here today. So let me start by first asking if today is the first crypto event to hear about Bitcoin for the first time. Now, regardless of how old you are in the industry, one of the principal things that you want to achieve here today is to understand what this entire ecosystem is about, understand, for those of you that have been here longer, understand where it's going to and how you can key into the next industrial revolution that is currently happening. I'm going to briefly talk about DeFi in Africa and the possibilities beyond the hype. So we'll first start talking about what DeFi is. We'll talk about the difference between DeFi, CeFi, and TradFi. We'll also talk about the hype. What is the hype about crypto and DeFi? Then we'll now talk about the realities. That's what actual use cases there are that are not just hype. We'll quickly run through this. I don't know if the slide is up. Is the slide here? So you can just follow as I go ahead. So, over the last few years, several innovations and buzzwords have become key drivers for Web3 and blockchain adoption across the world. Some of those, buzzwords range from ICOs. Who remembers the ICO era? So ICOs were a way that people raised money without necessarily getting money from VCs or getting money from a public offering, an IPO. So ICO was the crypto version of an IPO. Where imagine when WhatsApp started, imagine you had an opportunity to buy early shares in WhatsApp or like a WhatsApp coin. Back then probably you were the only one using WhatsApp in your whole contact list. By now, I think you would have made some, profits or benefits from that particular investment. So ICOs then allowed people to, be a part of the project, not just as a user, but also allow the users benefit in the growth of the platform. And the second thing that happened was, the DeFi era really kicked off. And then immediately after the DeFi era, we started hearing a lot of things about meme coins and a bunch of stuff. Today we hear about NFTs,
gaming, and the metaverse. Now, these are all key things that are propelling crypto adoption. Why? Because if crypto was just about buying and selling coins, I don't think we'll have more than just traders in the industry, isn't it? So it's a lot more. There are a lot more use cases that are springing up every single day and that are revolutionizing the way that people live and people do business. Is the slide going to be, is someone working on it? Just let me see. Okay, let me just go on. So to understand DeFi, which is a key fundamental part of blockchain. Let me just use this thing and explain something. I saw it when I came in here. So now this is Web3, and this is DeFi, and this is blockchain. So in this order, for Web3 to be possible, right, DeFi had to exist. It means that people had to be able to use this concept, and then for this concept to be possible, then blockchain had to power that, right? So what is, the internet that's talking about Web3? The earlier speaker had already mentioned, Web 1, Web 2, Web 3. In simple terms, it was Web 1, for those of you that weren't there for that session, is the synthetic web, from the early 90s, from 1990 to the year 2000. Now, that era was fueled by the, rise of computerization, right, of personal computers. So if there were no personal computers, that first era of the web would probably be very difficult to achieve. So in the first era of the web, we have companies like Google, Yahoo, and Amazon, really driving that innovation that we saw in that first era. And then from the year 2000 to the year 2010, we now had the beginning of the, new drive called Web 2. And in the Web 2 era, I like to call it the social web, right? It's the web we use and know today. And that era was fueled by mobile. Say mobile. So it was fueled by mobile. And guess what? Mobile that you use today, many people do not understand how impactful it is. But without your mobile phones, many of the things we see with crypto today and even Web 2 apps would not be possible. For instance, an Uber is mobile first, right? So imagine there was no innovation around ride sharing or Airbnb and the rest. It would impact the way people live today. And what I'm trying to say here is Web 2 has made the internet an integral part of our lives. It means that people now socialize on the internet. And Web 3 is then the semantic web, where it is possible to not only read and write, but also to execute. It means that on this Web 3, you're able to actually interact with self-executing code. And that's where DeFi comes in. So DeFi basically is a set of financial services that exist on the internet. So I wrote something down here. I said, simply put, DeFi is a set of financial providers set up on a public blockchain. With DeFi applications, you can carry out any financial service that a bank can do, such as earn interest, borrow, lend, buy insurance, trade assets, trade derivatives, and so much more. The significant difference between DeFi and banks is that DeFi is a global peer-to-peer infrastructure. This means that it is directly between two people and does not go through a centralized system, and is also open to all. According to DeFi Pulse, the value of digital assets locked in DeFi services globally was less than $1 billion in 2015, in 2009. And it grew from less than $1 billion to 15 billion around 2020. And in just 1 year, it grew in 2021 to over $80 billion. Now, this is just the value locked in several DeFi protocols. And this particular statistics I just shared just references the fact that people actually believe and actually are using these services enough for companies like Polygon, Binance Chain, and the rest of these new blockchains to invest resources into training developers and getting more and more people involved in building dApps. Now, dApps are known as decentralized applications. Now, these are the applications that you interact with directly on the internet. So, for instance, a PancakeSwap is a DeFi app. It's an exchange, basically, that runs on its own. The liquidity is provided by people, and the people that provide the liquidity earn an interest, while the people that trade on the platform are trading peer-to-peer. It's a very interesting application, as simple as it is. And that's also what has also given rise to a bunch of the other things people use today, like gaming and the rest. So I'm just going to quickly talk about the differences between DeFi and CeFi. So before I talk about DeFi and CeFi, there's a word called TradFi. So TradFi is the current system, is the banks, is the traditional finance, right? Now, CeFi is kind of like the hybrid. It's the gap or the infrastructure that exists between DeFi and TradFi. So basically, your crypto app today, your centralized platform, any of the sponsors here, that you see today are kind of like the hybrid. So they're helping people access crypto. They're helping people get involved, right? Giving you the financial service that your traditional system will give to you, and also having some of the attributes of the DeFi, ecosystem. So what are now the differences between DeFi and CeFi? So you see it's a progression. The first is TradFi, then there is CeFi, then there is DeFi. Some people mix up TradFi and CeFi. So I just wanted to clear that out. So now, differences between DeFi and CeFi. The first is that DeFi is decentralized, right? Obviously. And then CeFi is also what's centralized. What that means is that there is a middleman in CeFi that is in charge of, employing people, custodying the fund, providing security, and doing a bunch of other activities on the app, right? So it's centralized. It's custodial. An example of a CeFi app is, any centralized exchange, say Bundle, for instance. A DeFi app is one that does not need a third party to either custody the funds, number one. It means that your funds are not with anybody. Not your keys, not your coins, right? So in a DeFi app, you custody the funds, number one. Number two, the fees are not charged by just one person in DeFi. In CeFi, the fees are obviously charged by one person. But in DeFi, the fees are actually mostly shared across the network, okay? So another difference between the both of them is that one is centralized, is that one is permissioned, and the other one is permissionless, right? So it means that for one of them, you need to do, for instance, you need to KYC, you need to onboard, they have to review your application and then accept or reject you, right? So it's permissioned. You can't just access it openly. While DeFi is permissionless. You just open the app, connect your wallets, and do your transactions. Another thing is that DeFi is uncensored, while CeFi is censored, right? So censorship, an example of censorship is when, let's say there's a sanction list and you can't service anybody on the sanction list, right? Maybe, for instance, a company like PayPal doesn't have, I think PayPal has limited offerings to Nigerians or something like that, right? So there is a lot of things like geofencing that apply to both TradFi and CeFi platforms that are not applicable to a DeFi platform. So a DeFi platform does not care, just like Bitcoin. It doesn't care who you are. It doesn't care what you do for a living. It doesn't even care to know a bunch of things about you. You just connect your wallet again and do your transactions, right? And because of that, that's one of the aspects of DeFi that raises a lot of eyebrows to law enforcement and regulators, right? Because it's important for them to control. Not because control is bad, but because if without control, a lot of bad things can happen, right? But at the same time, too much control stifles innovation. So there's always a problem of the balance. So why I'm giving you this particular explanation is to understand that neither is bad or good. It's not about the bad guy and the good guy here. It's about understanding how technology has evolved. And then lastly, I wrote that, okay, the fees are cheaper on one, and on the other, the fees are more expensive. There are some advantages of CeFi, actually, in terms of user experience. For instance, there are several DeFi platforms that have had to, have some of their users who lost their keys, for instance, and they can't recover them because the keys are only known by the user. So you can easily lose your money, for instance, if you are not technical enough to understand how to manage the use of a DeFi platform. When you hear sometimes, Bored Ape was hacked, because there was a particular phishing site that people went and connected their wallet and authorized the transaction, because of a sale was going on, and next thing you know, all the coins and NFTs in their wallets were moved. So those kind of issues happen, right? But it doesn't just happen with DeFi alone. Let me give you a typical example. For those of you that are active in the crypto space, very recently, especially with this, current market, something happened. Luna, right, crashed, in simple terms. Now, Luna, like some, people who promise, a stable, does not change, does not go up, does not go down, right? Just to shit. Anyway, so point is that Luna is one of the many experiments that will happen in crypto. Some will fail, some will succeed, right? But that's DeFi. But there's a centralized platform called Celsius at the same time. Centralized, right? At the end of the day, Celsius as a company ended up, going nearly busts because of, that same, coin. But the point here is that the same way a centralized platform can fail, a decentralized platform can also fail. So you have to understand that, with everything that relates to technology, whether it's a bank or it's CeFi or it's DeFi, the fact that it is online, there is that chance that, it can be compromised, right? So that's just to put it out there. There are some examples of DeFi and CeFi that I just put up here. If you go to the next slide, you'll see it. If you recognize up to 4 or 5 of these guys, then, you are doing well. I'll just quickly run through some myths in DeFi, right? This is the hype of DeFi. So when you hear some of these things, they are actually not true, but people just say them. So talking about the hype. So what is the hype? The first is that DeFi has complete anonymity, right? Complete anonymity. That basically, if I use DeFi today, nobody can catch me. I can, steal money from, this platform or this person and send it to PancakeSwap and pancake it and then send it out and, nobody is seeing me. Well, people can see you. In fact, they can easily catch you. Okay, I have a few minutes left. Now, the key thing here is that the same way technology is increasing, analytics tools and a bunch of stuff are helping more and more people understand how to track, decentralized applications. It means that, for instance, there are people today that are monitoring how people trade on, Uniswap and PancakeSwap and the rest of them. Because there, your data, your trading data is actually public. If you buy a coin and sell it at a profit, people will see that you have sold it at a profit if you know how to check it. And from that publicly available data, people are learning about the strategies of other traders and a bunch of other stuff. That's why for a lot of whales, they prefer to just, spread out their funds in a lot of wallets to make it harder. But it is not anonymous. It's, I think, pseudonymous or something like that. So then the second myth is that DeFi is safer than traditional banks. I think I've already talked about this, right? So DeFi is not safer than the bank, for instance. Now, DeFi can be as safe as the bank, right? If you understand how to use it properly, which is where education comes in. So, as I said before, same with everything that has to do with technology, the key risk most of the time is with the user, right? Is with what? The user. And then the last myth that I want to share is that DeFi will eliminate the banks. Okay, this is the anarchist mindset, meaning that, back then, we wanted to replace the existing system. We don't want banks anymore, right? But I think as, we've all grown and come to realize that actually, in the ideal world, many of these things, many of the existing systems will have to evolve. So when Satoshi created Bitcoin, he didn't create it to be a replacement. He created it to be an alternative, basically separating money from states, right? And creating the money of the internet that people can choose to use as an alternative, and also understand that they don't have to depend on, government-backed currencies, okay? I see a future where even banks will custody crypto, right? The post offices, and emails. What happened between two of them? Most of the post offices that are alive today have had to evolve, right? So that's probably what will happen as well. But if today, in this age that all of you have 5G, there are some people somewhere that are using cash, and are basically unbankable, meaning that they don't even have KYC to bank, right? So crypto will definitely help not bank them, but Bitcoin them, right? So crypto will help do that. However, there will still be a need for decentralized traditional system, but it will have to evolve or it will die, okay? And then, lastly, I just put up some, use cases for DeFi that are actually real. So these are not hype, right? These are the real use cases. People have access to, cheap loans from anywhere in the world. You can save your money and earn interest that are probably higher than you get from your government. There are people that even if you don't have capital, today you can actually sit down on your phone, play games for 3 hours a day, and earn like 5K, So that is happening as well. And, the safety of your assets, you have ownership. It means that if, for instance, there's a war that breaks out in your country, and you move to another country, if you have crypto, you are not dependent on, the bank to withdraw your money or those kind of stuff. You can just easily move with your words, your phones. So lastly, I just wanted to conclude with this statement. I wanted to just, ask us to imagine an ecosystem of opportunities where big techs or governments don't control user interaction and content creation. A world where the internet subscription can sit on a transferable NFT, where a mix of digital and physical goods drive commerce, and soul-bound tokens can provide identity while owning name.eth and its on-chain data gives people an idea of the type of person that you are and the things that you're interested in. Whereas decentralized fiat on-ramp and off-ramp channels like Cashlink will continue to help more and more people on board into the decentralized applications that will be created, especially in regions where there are restrictions with banks interacting with these platforms. Overall, the key thing about this hype about Bitcoin is that in the end, the possibilities of DeFi are actually still just getting started. There are a bunch of things that are hype about it, but in itself, there is actual value. And in the next session, we'll be talking about some of these things and hearing from other panelists as they share, insights on it. But the key thing here is that Africa cannot be left what? Behind. Thank you very much.
Before you leave, we have an incoming tradition here for our speakers to take a selfie with the crowd. as much as possible, let's get into the picture. Okay, there you go. Thank you. A round of applause for our speaker. Thank you. A round of applause for our speaker. Come on, we can do better. Thank you. The last panel is Crypto and Africa, the strains, the gains, and the future. Crypto and Africa, the strains, the gains, and the future. Our moderator, excuse me. Okay. Our moderator is Temitokwe Akintade. Can I have him on stage, please? Temitokwe Akintade.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you guys are fine. Yeah, so the topic of our panel session is crypto in Africa, strengths, gains, and the future. So before I start, I would like to explain what this means. As a Nigerian, I'm very sure you have a friend, a relative, or a colleague in crypto, even if you are not trading crypto yourself. So crypto is actually mainstream to an extent in Nigeria and Africa. But this has brought a conversation. Trading crypto in Africa has brought both pains and gain. We are talking about the strengths, we are talking about the pains, the displeasure, the hardship we faced. We are not only talking about the dips or the market crashes. We are talking about the regulatory difficulties, the hardship that comes with using crypto in Africa. Then we are talking about the gains. We are not only talking about the pumps or the gains in the market space. We are talking about the dividends that the blockchain technology has brought to Africa. Then if you're also talking about the future, like okay now, we've seen the gains, we've seen the pains. What's next from here? So these pressing questions are going to be answered by seasoned blockchain innovators and regulators that we have around. The first person I'm going to be calling is Chris Annie, founder and CEO of DABA. Second person I'm going to be calling is Senator Iene, the president of CBAN. A round of applause, please. The third person on our list is Buchi Okoro, CEO of QDAS. The next person is Ruth Isalema, CEO of Bitmama. Yeah, I'm also going to be calling Chinedu Obidiegu, the product manager at Luno. We are going to be joined online by two speakers, Osamide Arionwinde, CEO of GigX, then Sandy Pitex, CEO of 3A. I don't know. Yeah, welcome guys. So cryptocurrency has caused the conversation in Africa. You know, what exactly is the cause of cryptocurrency in Africa? Can it be attributed to the technology behind the blockchain, or is it just a money-making scheme, a poverty eradication scheme? I'll direct that question to Christian. What exactly is the cause of cryptocurrency in Africa? Is it a money-making scheme? Is it a poverty alleviation scheme? Or the surge in the usage in Africa, is it due to the technology behind
crypto in Africa, crypto in Africa for me is more of a tool for economic development or economic freedom. Because if you look at the limitations we have in Nigeria or Africa, let's just use practical solutions. I keep telling people that everything so many fintech companies want to solve, a simple stable coin like USDT has solved it. Some years back, I think in 2019 or so, I was doing a tour across some African countries. And while we were doing our crypto and Bitcoin seminar and all that, Ghana, Cameroon, Cote d'Ivoire, Benin Republic here. And throughout this whole mission across this country, the major thing I was using as a means of exchange or whatever is USDT BTC. Okay? For an average user, for an average person in Africa, for instance, money transfer is a big deal. I am sure you're here, the card you're using, there's currently a limitation. They've changed it from $100 to probably 20 US dollars. In my company, for instance, there are certain things we pay for that we don't even use our Naira bank card. So we have to send money to somebody who is in Rwanda via USDT. The person sells this thing via Binance P2P and funds his own debit card in Rwanda just to make simple thing, something for like an email server, the one you use to pay for Facebook ads, the card we use, we have to send USDT, we have to send crypto to someone else in another country to help us make payments. Okay, so the fact that there is a money transfer limitation is one of the reasons why crypto in Africa is so important. So for me, it stands as a tool for economic freedom or financial freedom. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that response. Yeah. Chainalysis, a blockchain analytics platform, released a report last month, a global index report of crypto. Nigeria and Kenya have been the leading countries in the blockchain world in Africa, but Nigeria and Kenya dropped out of that list in the 2022 index. So, according to the reports, the reason why Nigeria and Kenya dropped out is because there are no institutional players in Nigeria. We only have retail traders, people that just want to make crypto and just make money and get out. So, I want to ask Senator Inyemi, why haven't we been able to achieve that scale yet? Why haven't we been able to get institutional players in the African crypto space?
Yes. It's really interesting. I also saw that report by Chainalysis about global crypto adoption. Indeed, in 2021, I think in the previous year, Nigeria was part of the first 10. Why has Nigeria dropped out, along with Kenya and the others? I think that, first of all, the idea that Nigeria is the largest Africa, largest crypto markets in Africa should not be lost on us. That is still a fact. What has changed is that I think that the methodology used by Chainalysis this time was pretty different. Last time, a lot of leverage or focus was given to peer-to-peer transactions and all of that. This time, I think the Chainalysis report focused a lot on centralized exchanges, first of all, institutional investments as well, and then DeFi. These three aspects are not areas that Nigeria is very competitive. But when you look at crypto transactions, right, you're looking more like peer-to-peer transactions, P2P. Nigeria is big there. So I think that is one of the reasons or major reasons why Nigeria dropped out from the first 10 to 11. But let's not take it for granted, because if you look at all of those countries, For instance, China, which is over 1 point something billion people, 1.4, is tenths, just a step away from Nigeria. So it means that Nigeria still plays plays big in the crypto space. What is happening right now is that we're seeing restrictions. For instance, we know that in 2021, last year, February, the Central Bank of Nigeria prohibited crypto transactions in the banking and financial system. That has significantly affected the level Nigeria would have gotten to if we were having banks openly facilitate crypto transactions. Secondly, the regulators are not really accommodating crypto yet in the mainstream. Although now we have the Securities and Exchange Commission come up with the new rules which regulates the crypto markets as far as investment and securities is concerned. But we are yet to see the central bank, which is the whale in the financial services industry, adopt a regulatory framework that accommodates innovators, Quidax, Whitebit, and the rest of them. They need to be brought to the round table. When you have that kind of conversation going on with these guys, you will find that, of course, the rates of adoption will grow.
Yeah, thanks very much for that response. But Senator, there are restrictions in China, and you would agree with me that they have market movers who use institutional adoption, even with the restrictions. So why has Nigeria not been able to achieve that?
Okay, it needs to be clear, first of all, right? China is one of the biggest markets when it comes to crypto. Let's get that right. In terms of infrastructure, China is in there. Talk about the mining pools. China is in there. Nigeria is nowhere near that. So the restrictions happening in China, with all the restrictions, China still got to the first 10. But what I'm trying to say is, Nigeria, China, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of institutional investments, it's just not at par at all. So we need to appreciate that. We're just about 213 million people, or 218. China is 1.4. And this is a country that has invested a lot in their technology, innovation, and all the rest of them. We need to also invest in our infrastructure.
Thanks for that response. Still on the reports, according to the metrics, the top 10 of the list, the top 10 countries from the list came from lower middle income countries. Then the 8 countries from the top 20 came from upper middle income. Only 2 came from higher income countries. Can we attribute this fact that, okay, crypto is a solution to financial insecurity? Can we say that? Or direct this question to both?
Hello. Okay, so before I answer your question, Chris, we have crypto cards. Stop sending people money in Rwanda. Alright, so to answer your question, I would say in a way yes. Crypto has found a home in economies where there are lower GDP, low employment rates, and lots of currency devaluation. So, but these are the factors that are driving crypto adoption in the market, basically. Yeah. Financial insecurity. Well, we should say, okay, like no trust in the government, no trust in the current financial systems. Yes, I would say yes. That's basically what's happening.
All right. So So I'll direct this question to Christian as a crypto trader. People have lost so much to crypto this year. So how do you explain to a newbie, someone that doesn't join crypto this year, how do you convince him that okay, crypto is legit, and it's not a scam, and the loss that we have seen this year?
Okay, so that's quite nice. How do you convince a newbie that crypto is not a scam? First of all, something doesn't have to be a scam for you to lose money inside of it. That's the first thing first. I once have had someone who invested $10,000 into bank share the early days of the movement, and that guy didn't cash out for like 20, 30 years plus. And this guy is running some big millions of dollars today with his investment. And so how do you convince a newbie? You see, when someone comes into crypto, the first thing first is to actually know why crypto? What is this thing we're doing with crypto? When I got into crypto 2016, I keep using this, my example, as a perfect template for newbies. So I got into crypto when I had someone in Calabar who's using a betting platform. He needed to wire money to the UK, and as an affiliate of the betting company he works for, they either use perfect money or Bitcoin. And I kept on hearing that day that, oh, Bitcoin is scarce, Bitcoin is scarce. And that's how I got to hear about Bitcoin. And I went on my own to start doing research. And for 12 good hours, I was on YouTube watching Andreas Antonopoulos. I was 8 p.m. on the Friday evening. I didn't know when I was, because I'm a very voracious person. I'm a very voracious reader. I like to research, and I kept on watching different things. Andreas was talking about how you can hold the phone and the bank can't stop you from transferring money from Brazil to Yugoslavia. I said, what? You mean no central authority for the first time in history? And that alone triggered my passion and my entry into crypto. So I had to start with that. And of course, you want to make money. You want to start making those bucks. So the next thing is you want to go into trading, transfer of money, OTC, different things. Whether you make money or you lose money in crypto, it has not changed that this is what crypto stands for first. And if you're going into trading, that one now requires another skill set on its own. The problem is that we see law as a skill. We see people who do electrical work as a skill. But when it comes to crypto, we think it's a fast money-making venture that I just come in and I cash out without me trying to know the basics or the skill behind this. And I keep saying this, that the crypto market is the new money market. Whether we've lost $2 trillion in the market this year or not, if you sit down and take this year, this bear market season, to master the technicals and the fundamentals behind crypto trading, who told you big traders don't even lose their money? The big guys, who told you they don't also lose their money? So you know that this is what happens with losses, this is what happens with gain. And let me tell you one thing, if you're a newbie, give yourself the next 1 to 3 years. Train yourself well in crypto. Do not go on Twitter crying about the losses. Some of us you see here today who are sitting to talk to you about crypto, we've had some, there's no way there's no losses. Even the guys running the exchanges, even incur their own losses in the game. So you that you're trading, some of us have had multiple 6-figure losses that we still come to Twitter and still tell you, we know what is in this game, it's still crypto, and we still are in this game. When you master this skill, let me tell you something coming in Africa that has not really happened. And I do not think we have enough skilled manpower for it. In Singapore today, we have hedge funds who are raising in billions and they are hiring Gen Zs as traders in-house to trade for them. It's happening in Dubai, it's happening in different countries. I mean, a DeFi analyst and trader could be earning as high as $100,000 in JP Morgan. Okay? We have these skills coming. Don't think that when you just come to crypto, I want to turn my $5 to $1,000 immediately. That shouldn't be the goal first. The goal should be you learning mastery, having mastery. Somebody who goes to medical school uses time. But in crypto here in Africa or Nigeria, we want to do it fast. And we want to do it fast. So the losses does not invalidate the growth in the industry. If you're in crypto, go back to year 2000 and read what happened in the financial markets. Go back to 2008, read what happened in the financial market. The crashes did not change the industry. That's why I respect Michael Saylor. And that's why when crypto traders laugh at Michael Saylor for buying the tip, I laugh. Michael Saylor was there before you. Michael Saylor was analyzing Apple stock before you were born. Michael Saylor was holding Apple stock more than 10 years when people were dumping Apple stocks. He was there during the dot-com bubble. He was there after. He was the only stocks when it was dying till the thing came back again to life and in more gains. So if you want to understand, if you want to really play this industry, have a long-term perspective. So that today if you lose $100, you won't go on Twitter and start saying, Chris, I didn't say that she entered crypto. And now the thing is a scam. And I'm not thanking God that those people told me that they want to buy Bitcoin at 60,000 and they reply their messages. Now I go on my WhatsApp and see the message and say, oh, hi, how you doing? And I'm thanking God that at 62,000, 69,000, when they ask me should I buy now, I'll just like, okay, I'll get back to you. And I think that was the best response I ever had. Thank you.
Thanks so much for that response. I'll direct this question to one of our online speakers. Sandy Peter, CEO of 3 Are you here with us? Sandy Peter. Alright, the next one. I'll direct this question to Chiyokoro. Since we've seen losses already in the crypto markets this year, people are confused. Should we sell, should we buy, or should we hold? Where exactly should we be at this point?
Do you want me to give financial advice?
Yes.
No, we don't do that here. I think Chris has said a lot of it, and Aka as well said it when he was speaking. Typically, when you're going to buy crypto, you determine why you're going to buy crypto, right? If you want to make money out of it, personally, if I want to make money out of something and I said, okay, I'm going to buy Bitcoin or Litecoin, if it is low, I wouldn't go out until I make money out of it, right? That's a personal choice. Now, different people have, and I also understand and respect that different people have their own circumstances in life. If I bought Bitcoin at 60,000, today Bitcoin is 19K, and I had to pay my medical bill, and that was the only thing that I had, I would sell it. So it really depends on your own circumstances. It depends on why you got in the first place, right? So it's really a personal choice. I think it's very, very tough for someone to advise you on what to do per time. It really depends on your personal situation.
So we shouldn't buy it.
We don't do financial advice.
Do your own research, right?
Do your own research. Do your own research.
So I'll direct the next question to another online speaker, Osamide Arunmi, CEO of Technext. Are you here with us? Alright, you have the question then. Next question. So experts have suggested that before this crypto winter can be over, there has to be a reduction in the rate of the reserve bank. As an expert that have said that before this crypto winter can be over, there should be a reduction in rates by the US Reserve Bank. But crypto, the technology behind blockchain is backed by decentralization. So why should the technology that is backed by decentralization rely on the traditional bank for movement?
Okay. If I got the question right, is that experts are suggesting that for this winter market to pass, the US Feds have to reduce their rates you know, and if that's the case, why is the traditional finance market basically influencing the price of Bitcoin if it's decentralized, right? First of all, experts have been wrong plenty in life. So that's something to well state clearly. That's one. Two, whether something is decentralized or not, at the end of the day, the primary principle that determines where things go price-wise especially is demand and supply. And so the assumption there is if the rates reduce, then people are no longer interested in investing their funds in the primary money market, and then those funds then find their way into cryptocurrency. And that assumption is also based on things that's happened in the past. So yeah, cryptocurrency is decentralized, but demand and supply affects price. And that's a base principle on top of many other things that are pretty complex, that also affect principle. So if a massive economy like the US makes a move that makes people look for alternative or better yielding products, and of course, Bitcoin has proven to be a top alternative for gain in its short time. It's also important to remember how young this whole space is. If that's the case, then that reduction can cause an increase in price. But the question, just to go specifically with your question, was that what caused the winter market that we're in right now? Not necessarily. So, like I said at the beginning, experts have been wrong, but the whole idea of that one move causing an increase in demand and possibly, ending the winter market, there's a possibility there, but no one can say for sure. But the important thing is, the market is driven by demand and supply, so anything that affects demand and supply would affect the market, cryptocurrency or anything else in the world.
Thanks for that response. So, I'd like to ask something. Sir, see, this is a question about if Bitcoin is decentralized, why is this economy, why is Elon Musk's tweets affecting it? And I think I have to address that because a lot of newbies have spilled a lot of storms, and people outside crypto are like, okay, if Bitcoin is truly decentralized, why is there Elon Musk's tweet today? There will be a dip. Okay, he has answered that thing very well, but a lot of people miss the decentralized explanation of Bitcoin. It is about the technology, not about the price. Okay, the price, like he said, is demand and supply. This year, people are going through hardship. Let's start with that first. In Nigeria alone, some tech Kuda Bank lost how much? And they will lay off staff and they lose no kind of money. And so by the time they start laying off people, and people can't buy iPhones, they can't buy food enough, this economy becomes too square. The last thing you think of is how to buy Bitcoin. So that's when you see all this CPI, data release, demand, and consumer index. They're trying to tell you that, see, people are not buying things like before because there's a global economic crunch. Now, does it affect Bitcoin negatively or positively? The technology is still there. The hash rate is still increasing. China will ban, Nigeria will ban, all the ban and the ban and the ban. The technology is still there. But as for pricing will be affected. Why? Because me and you, just like, look at what happened some hours ago when a celebrity was here. They asked how many of you put $1 million on Bitcoin. Like almost, I think the crowd, only 20%. That's a reflection of what's going on in the global economy. And it's how many people put money in real estate to buy a house in Lekki? Almost everybody. So it's showing that people are not really trying to invest in risk-on assets because there's panic, there's no demand like that. And of course, only a few are doing that. So when demand is less, prices will reduce. So it's a simple mathematics that has nothing to do with the real technology of what Bitcoin stands for.
Thank you very much. I'll direct the next question to our line speakers. Sandy Peter, are you here now?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here from the beginning. Just couldn't hear me well.
Alright, thanks for joining. Yeah, so regardless of what we've been through this year, there's still hope. We still believe people will be back. So I want to ask Peter, when do you think the next wave will come and when exactly should we buy? The next wave.
That's a tough one. So right now, how I see the global markets, it's actually in the hands of two people right now. So the one is from Russia and the other one is actually from the US, right? So, and right now the majority of things I think are kind of gathering around the macroeconomic politics from JP, and it's going to come down when the US Fed actually pivots. So when they start, let's say, not reducing the interest rates, but maybe not hiking them so much. And when that's going to happen, my personal opinion, it's going to be pretty soon. It could be even in October or next month. Just what we're seeing right now is the global economy like cracking down. We've seen Credit Suisse just got off. Am I still on? Hello. I think we lost you, guys. I can't see anything anymore. Okay, I hear something. Okay, let me just continue. I hope you can hear me. So, Credit Suisse is like...
You can barely hear you.
But my signal is good, but there's something changed here. Okay, so let me just kind of continue. So one thing is, Credit Suisse bankrupt, the Central Bank of Australia illiquid. We have Japan, the Japanese yen going down. China, all the fiat currencies are actually dumping against the US dollar, and the whole economy is really struggling right now. And I think it's what the Fed are actually doing, and it's nothing that's going to be good for them long term. So my opinion is they need to pivot pretty fast. I think it's going to happen even this month. And also we need to remember that next month there's the midterm elections in the US. So they also want to have a bit of a better market sentiment because that helps them with the elections. But if this doesn't happen, it might be a small bull run within the bear market, but I see the real next bull market actually coming in next December. Usually it starts a few months before the halving, and we are expecting the Bitcoin halving coming in April 2024. And right now, as the markets are evolving, everyone's front-running everyone. So I think December next year is going to be the next upward sprint, the real one.
Alright, thank you very much for that response. I'll direct this question to our second online speaker, Osadini. Do you think there will be a time where there will be mainstream adoption in Africa? And what exactly is going to trigger that reality?
Oh, can you hear me?
Did you get that?
Yes, I did. I was just not sure if everyone can hear me. Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello? Okay, fantastic. So the short answer to that for me would be yes, and I'll tell you a couple of reasons why. First off, when you think about the fact that cryptocurrencies today, for a lot of developing countries, I think you actually asked this question earlier on, serves as a hedge against inflation in somewhere or another. Right? When you think about the fact that the majority of money coming from the Western world into countries around Africa coming from remittance purposes. Right? When you consider the fact that through crypto or using crypto for remittance, you're actually getting more value in terms of cheaper fees, faster transactions. So when you think about all of that, when you think about the fact also that people realize that because of the lack of regulation, at least today. It also means there's a lack of mandate when it comes to viewing cryptocurrency assets as a taxable asset. So that means technically no taxes on your gains. So when you think about things like that, you think about sectors like DeFi, needs to earn from there, or even GameFi. And we're seeing GameFi literally go across the continent. When you think about these factors, you start to see that the adoption, it's not slowing down anymore, right? When you think about the fact that you look at even the macroeconomics of the world of it, according to FinSME, it says that about 30 billion was already deployed into crypto companies in the first half of 2022 alone. Groups, Goldman Sachs, and the Zimbabwe just raised another 5 billion.
I think we lost. Yeah, let's move on. I'll direct this question to President of Senate. Yeah, there's an inconsistency as regards to regulation in Africa. For instance, in CXCR, Central African Republic, they adopted crypto as a legal tender arrangement. In Nigeria, we are very confused about the legal state of it. So what do you think is the cause of it? And what exactly is the state of it in Africa?
All right, thank you very much. It's interesting you mentioned CAR, the Central African Republic, adopting Bitcoin. Of course, the adoption of Bitcoin as a legal tender in that country does not simply equate to a better regulatory environment, right? In Nigeria, yes, and Africa generally, we have seen inconsistencies when it comes to the regulatory approach to crypto adoption. We look at a place like South Africa, for instance. South Africa, as soon as they realized that South Africans were getting interested in crypto and all of that, the first thing they had to do was to get the regulators from the tax sector, from the banking sector, from the security sector as well, to look at the risk around that part and see how best they could get in. They said something, and this is very important for every regulator across Africa. They believe that cryptocurrencies like Ethereum, Bitcoin, and the rest of them are basically financial products. So if they are financial products, it means that they can be accommodated and regulated as well. Go to places like a place like Nigeria, for instance. The central bank's initial approach back in 2017 was, all right, we can allow banks facilitate these transactions, but ensure that we have KYC in place. And the banks were following that. That changed in 2021 because of the misunderstanding and misconception around the use of cryptocurrencies for facilitating money laundering, terrorism, and other illicit transactions. Now we know, it's clearer now, that according to the Chainalysis report in 2021, 2020 as well, it showed very clearly that less than 1% of the global crypto transactions have been traced to illicit or illegal transactions, meaning that whatever reason or misconception that banks or central banks across Africa have about Bitcoin and crypto, it's not valid based on the figures and facts out there. So what we need to do, I think, is to get back to the round table, to the drawing board, and we need to also get to the round table. One of the things that we have failed to do in Africa, from a regulatory perspective, is to ensure that we get the players in the room. So we should have the players, the Bitmans, the Quidams, the Whitebits, the Lunos. They need to be the ones having a conversation with the regulators. But what we have found is that it's usually the other way around. How do I mean? Rather than call the industry players themselves, Regulators call the TradFi players, the banks, and say, let's talk about this. How do you have a conversation about crypto adoption with traditional finance players? So we need to have industry players also brought into the room. From CIMA, the Stakeholders in Blockchain Association of Nigeria, we have tried to facilitate that conversation. So far, the success we have had has been at the Securities and Exchange level, which is one of the reasons why today, in May of this year, the Securities and Exchange Commission issued a regulation in that sector. We now need to have the central bank also come in. I'm happy to say that at the monetary policy of the central bank in Lagos, sometime in June or July, the central bank governor, Governor Emefiele himself, acknowledged that it was time the monetary policy of the country changed. Because today we are seeing digital platforms, and he even mentioned cryptocurrencies. Where do we go from here? We think that regulators are beginning to understand that they might have made some serious errors initially. This is now the time to get back to the drawing board and have open, transparent, and clear conversations. And I'm happy that players in the space today are even more prepared to have that conversation.
Thank you so much for your response. I'll direct the next question to our nice speaker, Mr. Like Senator mentioned, cryptocurrency is becoming a haven for fraudsters and criminals. In view of this, do you think we need stiff regulation in Nigeria? We can't hear you. Osamini, if you can hear us, we can't hear you. Can you answer that question, please? Just like Senator said, cryptocurrency is becoming a haven for criminals and fraudsters. In view of that, do you think there's a need for stiff regulation?
Alright, so just to add to what Senator has said, cryptocurrency currently right now, according to chain analysis and most of the reports we've been getting, is not mostly being used by fraudsters, as many people may see. But however, in case of stiff regulations, no, we shouldn't have regulations that actually stifle innovation, right? Because if tomorrow now there were to be regulations that stifle innovation, it means if we want to bring out new products or new features, that would basically be impossible, right? And we have a young demographic that the average age is 18 years old. So you need young people to actually innovate, you need young people to actually build something new, you need them to work on the next big thing, right? So however, regulations should mostly be around financial and monetary policies, but not innovations. So if we use strict regulations, to strive for innovation, at the end of the day, we'll just be biting ourselves in the foot.
Thank you very much for that question. So I'll direct the last question to this time. We've heard reports of security outfits criminalizing using. What do you think we can do to address it? And what is the future of crypto in Africa?
Okay. For that one, I would say what's the future of crypto in Africa? One, and how do we address security outfits criminalizing users of crypto, right, in Nigeria? I think first thing first is change of government. That's the best solution. Because if you change this government, You won't have those losses. This thing is simple. So some of my friends in crypto today currently live in Dubai. And when we come back from, we can go out in the night in Dubai, you're on the streets. Some of them are not outside this country. Not just even crypto traders alone. Even people just normal online marketers. Okay, you come back from the club 2 a.m., 3 a.m. in Dubai, you're on the streets there, you don't have any policeman you're thinking of. Some internet marketers today, some crypto traders today who you see living in Dubai are not living in Dubai because it's so comfortable for them or they just want to flex life. Number one thing is security. So the core thing to change first is change the government, okay? Change the system. And that's why 2023 election is so important to everyone in this country. Whether you're a marketing, whether you're in tech, whether you're in crypto, okay? Because we cannot keep going back and forth with NSAS, end government, end police. Today you call, there's a problem, I have to call Siban president, they arrested me, even though they've never done that. Nobody will try that, okay? To have an issue in this thing, then I have to call Siban. Then the guy has to now say, okay, then you have to talk, then I have to call Babalola, I have to go to here. No, those things. A working system is actually the core solution. And what's the future of crypto in Africa? Should be told, Nigeria is the most enthusiastic about crypto from Africa. I must say that. And I think we should clap for ourselves because of that. You see, go to Twitter today, in the midst, it never feel like a bear market in Nigerian crypto Twitter. The only thing you can see are people who are still fighting themselves, maybe toxic and all those things. Of course, you get that. But you want to know people are still going on Solana NFT to go and look for NFTs, Nigerians are there. You want to know people on Ethereum trying to do this one, Nigerians are there. You want to go on that same Twitter, you see people writing trends, writing this, trading futures, trading sports, still trying to do everything to earn a living through crypto. Nigerians are still there. So if young people in this age bracket between 16 to 30 to 40 are still in crypto, then the future of crypto in Nigeria or in Africa is still bright. The only thing we're canvassing for, just like what you mentioned earlier on, and set it out to compare to what's going on in China, is that one of the things we still need, I don't know if I should measure it as that institutional power. Okay, we want to see the rise of ABC venture capital coming to say we've raised $100 million fund owned by Africa for Africa. Not this was some of these companies are coming with some venture capital scams, telling us they're investing $200 million in Africa. And when you check the companies they're investing in, you keep wondering what's going on. Okay, they just package a Web3 project, tell them you're using Web3 to ship clothes from Umuahia to Aba. And that's what the kind of thing we're talking of. When we have our own in-house, our own country, that's why you see venture capital companies in China, they're still backing their mining companies. If they chase them away from China, they send them to America, the money is still going like that. We need such. We need that inflow of institutional capital that will help drive adoption, that will help drive projects from here to the other parts of the world. So the future is bright for us in Africa.
Thank you very much. You said we should have to change of governments. I would have loved to ask, because we have about 10 Nigerian families here. I would have asked, but what that conversation right now? We are going to have a question and answer. Show your candidates, please. We are going to have a question and answer session. A session, but not now. We are going to have a sponsor a session now. So after that, we'll be able to ask your questions and direct your questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Please let's put our hands together for the panelists once again. I'm very sure we can do better. Let's put our hands together for them. I want to encourage all of us to please go on social media and use the hashtag TNC2022. Let's make it a trending topic. The information and the discussions we've had are extremely critical to progress. We need to share that, we need to get it out there. So as much as possible, please use the hashtags. Also need to remind us that our vendors are there. The food and the water and the drinks are for sale, so please patronize them. as much as you can. We'll have our sponsors video coming up next, and thereafter we'll have our question and answer session for only 5 questions. 5 questions. Can I just ask our panelists to take our selfie? Yes, please. Please use each of your phones. Yeah, please. Yeah, do it. Who else? Come to the front.
Hi, this question is firstly, I want to thank you for your diverse policy that very beautiful. But as a young guy that's trying to break into the blockchain industry, what do you think? Where do you think someone can start it from? Or what aspect?
I can't hear you well, please.
I said, as a young guy trying to break into the blockchain industry, what aspect do you think it would be very nice to start researching from and learning from? And from where do you think someone can learn research from?
If I hear you, where to start from, right?
Yes,
As somebody get into the blockchain industry. Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, I don't know, maybe later today, maybe on my Twitter, there's something I used to share way back 2019-20, where I give a list of basics of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and just list all of them like that. But if you go to www.cryptohub.com, my education platform, we packaged a whole lot of freebies where you can learn various things for free, okay, when you're getting started in crypto. Now, YouTube is also one good place for you. There are loads of free resources in crypto that you can get started with. Like I said earlier on, understand the mission. And when you do that, the next is now, where do you think I can fit in? There are a lot of branches in crypto. There are a lot of branches in the crypto industry that you can play in, okay? You may necessarily not decide to be a trader, okay? You may just be a holder, and I'm even seeing that a part of the market that a lot of people are not taking advantage of is video content creation in the crypto industry. No one are taking advantage of it. Okay, there are brands you can partner with to do that. You can run a 5-day business, because I'm bringing that proposal to this guy, tweet that. Okay, so there are several industries you can have. So when you get in, let the basics start. Make sure you do 1 or 2, 3 practicals. If they say there's lending protocol in Defi, you too use the AAD protocol, use the compound protocol, use your $1 to borrow a loan, and whatever, just do something with it. So there's a lot of free resources on YouTube you can start with that will help you a lot. I think that answers it.
Next question, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Mary Maswan, and my question really is bordered on the fact that I find it quite disturbing that people in the crypto space are not talking about the adoption level and the utility of cryptocurrency. We talk here a lot about the problems, but not the utility. For example, there was made mention of the Central African Republic about them adopting Bitcoin as legal tender. I mean, there are lots of advantages that this could bring to Africa. In terms of the question,
like lots of people talk about utility. I know we were very big on utility, where we have crypto, we can help you send and receive money using crypto. And this is across Africa and also internationally, right? This is not just within Africa. So most times, while you hear talk about trading, and even pricing. Because even when I came here, I don't know, where is David? After now, I even wanted to ask you didn't talk more about utility, you were just talking about the up and down of the price of Bitcoin, regulation, and the rest. There's a whole lot more to crypto and the whole blockchain in itself. You see, that's why she's asking that question. But there's lots and lots of utility. You could use it to make B2B payments, remittance, sending and receiving of money, crypto cards, there's a whole lot. And that was why I was also very particular that any regulation that is coming shouldn't stifle innovation, because there is a lot that we've not even yet explored. So if someone should just go and sit down somewhere and bring a regulation that will stifle this innovation, it's going to affect all of us at the end of the day.
Thank you so much. We've been through a lot today. So my job here is to offer a bouquet of gratitude to everybody. First, I want to thank everyone for making our time to be here today. You could have been anywhere else, but you chose to join us to have this exciting conversation. So I want to say thank you to you all. I want to say special thank you to all the speakers for coming to share. That was very important, and we've learned quite a lot today that is going to make us have a lot of conversations going forward. I also want to say thank you to our sponsors. Without them, we wouldn't have been able to put this together. Most important, we want to say thank you to all the volunteers. When we announced that there is a volunteering opportunity and it's not going to be paid, we were surprised by the volume of people that volunteered to be part of organizing this. I want to say thank you. And lastly, I will be saying thank you to my family, our families, and the Technext family. I would have loved to have everybody on stage if you are available to come and take pictures, but thank you everybody for making it here. God bless you. See you at Technext Conference 3.0 next year. Put that on your calendar. The next Independence Holiday, we'll all be here to have that conversation. Thank you very much.